Hello trainers, Professor Palm here, and it's hard to believe that 1 year ago today, we woke up in the Hisui region. Yep, 1 year ago today, Pokémon Legends Arceus came out. And let me tell you, for the first Legends game, I think Sinnoh was the perfect region to do. Oh, I meant to say Hisui. After all, that's what it was called in the ancient times. When looking back at Pokémon Legends Arceus, there's so many things that happened in that game. Other than creating the very first Pokedex, as well as getting all the information, there was so much for us to explore. We could go anywhere we wanted. After all, there was nothing to hold us back. But I also like the fact that we didn't really need to battle Pokemon. What we could also do is sneak up on them and catch them. Oh, and making my own Pokeballs with the whole crafting process was amazing. I really wish that we could do this again in another Legends game. After all, making your own Pokeballs has another feel to it than buying them. But I also have to say, some of the ride Pokemon we had were a lot of fun, especially the ones that had Hisuian forms. Man, the Hisui region had a lot of incredible Pokemon to offer us. Not just Hisuian forms, but also Alpha Pokemon. I do have to say though, I think my favorite gimmick of the game was the fact that we started off with 3 starters that could be starters from other regions. While we could also get Piplup, Chimchar, and Turtwig in the wild, I have to say, this game really felt like an anime that we were playing, and I hope that the next Legend games we get live up to as much as everything Legends Arceus did. I'll admit, I really do love Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. I think that they are great starters, but going back in time to the Hisui region, I have to say, I really did love the idea of having starters from other regions be the 3 starters you could choose from. I really hope that we get other Legend games in the future. I wonder what other regions it'll be on. For me, I'm either hoping that we get Johto or even Alola. Oh, and Unova would be great as well. I'd love to see what Pokemon from back then looked like and also their forms. Oh, and I gotta say, I really hope that we get to start off with Pokemon that get regional variants as well. Or maybe, just maybe, we'll start off with starters that we've never seen before in the world of Pokemon yet. The Hisui region really was an incredible region before it became the Sinnoh region. What happened to all those Hisuian variants? Maybe they're still out there. Maybe they went extinct. Whatever the case is, only one Pokemon knows, and it's the same one that knows everything that's going on in the world, as well as how it created the world and when the world will cease to exist. After all, this Pokemon created everything all around it. And we're talking about, yep, the mighty creator and the Almighty Sinnoh itself, Arceus. I just want to say that Arceus is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. After all, this Pokemon is the mighty creator that created everything in the world we know, including us. Without Arceus, nothing would be here. So how can you not love Arceus? After all, it created this entire world, everything around us, everything we have, we all owe it to Arceus. So thank you, mighty Sinnoh. But you're not the only one I'm going to be thanking today. Techronova, I'd like to give you a very special thanks for today's shirt. This one is called The Ghost Fox Within. Since it's a 1-year anniversary of Pokemon Legends Arceus, and not only are we talking about the mighty Sinnoh himself, but we're also talking about the Hisui region as well as the Sinnoh region today. So I couldn't think of a shirt better to wear than this one. If you really love this design, then please check out Techronova. She makes shirts with these designs all the time, and all of them are incredible. Oh, and if you really like the Zorua and Zoroark line, or them in their Hisuian form, then I would say buy this shirt. But if you don't like the shirt, she has other Pokemon design shirts, which I'm pretty sure you'll like. So please check her out, and always say, Professor Palm sent ya. When looking back at the cover art for Pokemon Legends Arceus, I kinda noticed something a little ironic about it. Despite Arceus' name being there, it doesn't appear in the cover anywhere. Maybe it is high up on Mount Coronet? Arceus, I'm kinda curious to know, do you stay in heaven because you live in fear of what you've created? Are you scared of everything out there? Or are you just not very social? I know! Let's talk all about Arceus. Let's learn everything we need to know about it and go back in time to where we are now in time. So yeah, why don't we take a trip and learn everything about our mighty creator and the almighty Sinnoh with the Alpha Pokemon, Arceus.
Arceus, the Alpha Pokemon, is based on the Holy One himself, God. The body of Arceus draws inspiration from the Egyptian bull/calf god, Apis, often depicted as an idol who represents primordial power. The arc on Arceus's back may be inspired by Buddhism, Dharmakaya, or Bhavchakra, which is the wheel of life. However, it can also be seen as the way Hinduism believes in reincarnation. Arceus's back arc could also be very reminiscent of halos. After all, Arceus is a divine creature, and a lot of divine beings in artwork were painted with halos. Arceus is the oldest living Pokemon alive. As legend has it, it was born long before the universe as we even know it came into existence. Just like all Pokemon, Arceus came from an egg, and when it was born, this Pokemon shaped the world into what we have today. But not only did it just create a world, it created all the Pokemon and all the people you know today. You know, it does beg the biggest question of all. Since Arceus created Pokemon and humans in its own thoughts and images, what created Arceus? Other than Takao Uno? Creation for any creature is no easy task, and Arceus is no exception. After all, this Pokemon created the entire universe. It also probably created you, as well as all of your ancestors and everyone you know around you, and even your Pokemon. How Arceus managed to do this? It used its hands. All 1,000 of them. Yep, Arceus currently has the most limbs than any other. Where are these 1,000 arms, you may ask? Well, sometimes some questions are better left unanswered. In the beginning of Pokémon Legends Arceus, as well as the anime, it's shown that Arceus can speak our language. After all, this was the Pokemon that created humans, so language was definitely something it created. But being a Pokemon, Arceus can also understand every Pokemon and what it's saying, proving that Arceus might be a Pokemon, but nothing gets past it. After all, this Pokemon knows everything that there is going on in the world, and it can talk to anyone it chooses to. After all Arceus has done with what it's created, what it's made, and everything that it does, Arceus earns the right to be called the Alpha Pokemon. After all, it's the Almighty Sinnoh and the one in charge. And hey, since it's an Alpha, you could also see Arceus as top dog. While Arceus is the creator of all, I think everybody knows its most well-known creations best of all. This Pokemon is the trio master to not one, but two different trios, and these trios changed life forever when Arceus created them. And these trios are, of course, the Lake Guardians, with Azelf, Mesprit, and Uxie, but the most well-known trio that Arceus created is none other than its creation trio, with Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. The reason they have the name the creation trio is legend has it, these were the very first Pokemon Arceus ever created. Which one came first, we'll never know, but having all three of them has changed life forever. If Arceus had not created any of the trios that it's the master of, we would not have any such thing as space, time, knowledge, willpower, emotion, and the balance of power, which could be seen as either evil or good. Yep, because of Arceus, we have a dark side and a light side. Oh, and before I forget, contrary to popular belief, Arceus is classified as a mythical Pokemon. So yeah, it's not a legendary. This also makes Arceus the first and only mythical Pokemon to be a trio master. Since the dawn of time to where we are in the modern world, Arceus has always watched over our world, and it has always had one goal: having people and Pokemon not only live together in harmony, but make the world a better place together. We all know that Arceus cares deeply about the planet and all that inhabit it. After all, it's protected it for years from terrible cataclysms, just like meteors or even doomsday that would threaten it. So even if Arceus says that it doesn't like humans, we all know that deep down it does have a soft spot. After all, this Pokemon created the entire world. It could get rid of it if it wanted to. When encountering Arceus, the best thing you can do is show this Pokemon kindness and compassion. After all, not only did this thing create the world as we know it, but it definitely had a hand in the pot and helped create you. So yeah, you're looking at your creator. And think about this, if you encounter Arceus, you found God! Just like all people in Pokemon, Arceus has emotions and it can express them in any way it wants to. It can be happy, it can be sad, it can be surprised. But sometimes Arceus gets angry, and that is dreadful. Arceus being the Almighty Sinnoh has given so many trainers, myself included, an uneasy feeling when you encounter it. After all, this Pokemon is on top of the spear pillar and you have that distorted music playing behind you. That's always stuck with me. But what's really scarier is the fact that it's been there the whole time. We're nothing more to Arceus than just creations. Arceus can create and destroy whenever it pleases. After all, this Pokemon is God. So try to stay on Arceus' good side. Don't be someone like Cyrus and never be someone like Marcus. Because if Arceus wanted to, it could rip us apart like we were nothing. So the fact that it hasn't just proves that it still likes us. But get on Arceus' bad side, and not only will you be gone, I think no one will have any memory that you ever existed. A very scary theory is the fact that Arceus has been there the whole time and it even watched Cyrus try to recreate its world it made. Yep, if you think about it, the first time you go to the spear pillar is when you fight Cyrus. And yeah, Arceus is above there watching a madman try to recreate an entire world it began. I think that you're really the hero there and you saved Cyrus's life. Because if Arceus stepped in, how about you think about it from this point of view? Arceus is most likely the thing that created Cyrus. What do you think it's gonna do to him now? But the nightmare doesn't end there. If you ever encountered Arceus in the games, on top of the spear pillar, here's something that might keep you up all night and you'll never look at it the same way again. To Arceus, you're nothing more than a creation. This is most likely the thing that created you, and now you're going up against it. What's stopping the Pokemon equivalent to God from trying to kill you? Arceus made its anime debut in the movie Arceus and the Jewel of Life, where it was both the protagonist and the antagonist. It was the antagonist because Arceus was attempting to destroy the world after it had been betrayed millions of years ago by a man named Marcus. All thanks to Ash Ketchum, Dawn, and Brock, as well as Dialga for going back in time. They changed the timeline and made Arceus realize it didn't have to hate humans, only just one that betrayed it. So thanks to them, the world still exists. In the games, when it first appeared in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Arceus was the highest level you could ever catch a Pokemon, as it started off at level 80. Until then, 70 was always seen as the highest level. It makes sense after all, this is the Pokemon equivalent of God, so why not start it off at a very high level? If you really like the terrestrialization phenomenon in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, let me tell you, Arceus is the OG. After all, with its ability Multi-Type, Arceus had the ability long before everyone else to change its typing without the need of terrestrialization. So yeah, all you had to do is give this Pokemon a plate that you found, and automatically it would change its typing, but it would also change its appearance as well. Oh, and if you ever played with Arceus in Generation 7, any of the Alola games, if you gave Arceus a Z-Crystal, that would work just as well as a plate to change its typing. Pretty cool, huh? Arceus has the highest base stats of all Normal-type Pokemon. So, if you really like Normal-type Pokemon and you're looking for a team, please give a spot to Arceus. But then again, Arceus can change its typing to any type, so yeah, always give a spot to Arceus on any team. Oh, and it has a signature move, being Judgment. However, Judgment can only be learned by Arceus at level 100. And yeah, it takes a while to get there, but trust me, it's so worth the wait. And just like with Arceus' ability of Multi-Type, whatever typing Arceus currently is the same type of attack that Judgment will be. Other than Judgment, Arceus can also learn a few other signature moves of its other 3 creations, and this means Arceus can learn Dialga's signature move, Roar of Time, Palkia's signature move, Spatial Rend, and of course, Giratina's signature move, Shadow Force. Yep, so imagine having an Arceus with Judgment, Shadow Force, Roar of Time, and Spatial Rend. You'd be unstoppable. Having an Arceus with that definitely sounds like having a dream Arceus. But you want to know something kind of funny about Arceus? Despite the fact that this Pokemon created every Pokemon out there, every move, and can also change its typing, it can't learn every move possible. Isn't that hilarious? When it comes to the strength and weaknesses for Arceus, There are no set strengths, no set weaknesses, not even set immunities, because Arceus has the ability to change its typing as well as have its judgment be any type attack. It becomes that typing that has that strength, that weakness, as well as that immunities. So Arceus is a one-of-a-kind Pokemon that has every strength, every weakness, and of course, every immunity. As you know, Arceus is the Pokemon God, and with its powers, it created the Pokemon Devil. Unfortunately, Giratina went that way because of the violence, but something I've always found so interesting is the fact that there's an entrance to heaven, and there's even an entrance to the underworld, both at the Spear Pillar, making the Spear Pillar the only place where heaven and hell meet in the entire world of Pokemon. Since Arceus is known as the Alpha Pokemon, and the gimmick of Alpha Pokemon existed in Pokémon Legends Arceus, I'm starting to wonder, do you think Arceus still makes Alpha Pokemon to this day? Or do you think after some time, Arceus realized how powerful those things were and became fearful of making those, that Alpha Pokemon went extinct? After all, there are some Pokemon out there that are extinct. Think of the prehistoric Pokemon, and also think of many of the Hisuian forms. They're not really around today. Has anyone ever heard the song, What If God Was One of Us by Joan Osborne? To me, the lyric that always sticks out is the one that says, just a slob like one of us. And if you really think carefully, Arceus has made many mistakes and is a slob just like one of us. After all, Arceus is a Pokemon. It's not going to hit with every attack. It's going to make some bad mistakes. It'll hurt itself in confusion. But Arceus also has created plenty of Pokemon, and there's always one out there that not everyone's going to like. It probably might be its stats. It probably might be its appearance. It's also possible its abilities, something that makes it really not likable, or even its typing. Arceus makes every mistake possible, just like all of us. Maybe a thing that Arceus fears is that it never will live up to human standards, or even other Pokemon standards, as it thinks that everyone wants it to be perfect, but it can't be. So, I have to say, if Arceus fears that, then that's something that maybe we should all embrace. Let's all be happy with our mistakes. Nobody can be perfect. If everything was perfect in the world, we wouldn't have other great things. We wouldn't have penicillin, and of course, we wouldn't have hot dogs. While there are so many powerful Pokemon in the world, Arceus really stands out, not just with its design, but everything it's done. And when you take on this Pokemon, you're not just taking on the Pokemon God, you feel the wrath of the Almighty Sinnoh.
Well, trainers, are you a fan of Arceus? Also, I'm very curious to know from all of you trainers. I have many questions today. First, I'm going to ask, what did you think of Pokémon Legends Arceus? Do you want there to be another Legends game? If we get one, what region do you want it to be on? And also, what do you think that it should be called? For both trios that Arceus is in charge of, which is your favorite one? And also, what do you think one of its best creations was in all of the Sinnoh region? Or do you think that the Dream Duo, aka the Lunar Duo, is one of Arceus' most finest creations? Which typing and design of Arceus stands out to you the most when it holds a plate, or any of the Z crystals in any of the Alola games? And Alpha Pokemon, did you really like them, or were they terrifying that you never want to see them again? Also, what about other Hisuian Pokemon? Which was your favorite Hisuian form? I have to say, I really hope that in the future we get to see more Pokemon with the Hisuian form return, like we got to see them return for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Who knows where they are? Maybe it's possible they're not extinct, and maybe they're still out in the open. I'd love to do a video on that one day. That is, if you'd all like me to. Well, if you liked what you saw, please leave a like. If you have any questions out there, you want to answer any of the questions I threw at you, you want me to cover another Pokemon line, you have an idea for a short, or you want me to cover something else, please comment. And as always, if you liked what you saw and you want to see more, smash that subscribe button. I want to give a final thank you to my partner, Professor Sassafras, aka Halo Gaming, for both my thumbnail and my community post. Thanks so much, my friend. I hope to see you again in another video. And I also hope that you stay tuned because Professor Sassafras will be around for future videos. Thanks for watching. Palm out!